Hi, welcome to another Boudoir how-to film. Today we're looking at the body stocking. This is just a short section of the film for YouTube, in fact, because of restrictions of what we can kind of show and so on. But basically you can kind of watch the whole film on the Academy in the members area. So when we're kind of shooting boudoir, not only are we looking for kind of different props, which include like the dresser and the bed, etc., but we're also looking at the different types of lingerie or what the client can actually wear to kind of take the photography to that kind of different level. One of the things that we shoot quite a lot of is basically, faceless, which basically means that we're not seeing the client's face in any way. So it's being disguised with either kind of prop or hair or even the pose as well. But to kind of take that into a little bit more of a 50 Shades kind of terminology, the body stocking is a great transition because obviously the client is technically still fully dressed, even though it's being sheer as far as for the bust is concerned. We usually leave our clients' pants on as well because of obviously the type of sheer kind of prop it is, so it's easier for us to actually kind of transition towards an implied or a nude, but we're working through the actual body stocking kind of variety. So just to give you some idea on some simple posing, what you can actually kind of create. This is an easy one to disguise pretty much the nipple, which is pretty much what we're trying to disguise with implied. So one hand to actually cup the breast and the other one is actually onto the neckline. Remember, where possible, we're looking to use the middle finger on the hand that is basically the action hand. So what it's doing, whether it's kind of stroking the back of the neck, running through the hair, kind of bringing its kind of line down the body, or even holding a strap. So that middle finger combined with obviously the thumb to actually grip and things really will actually be that starting point. Remember to kind of start the pose from the feet as normal, whether we're laying down on the bed or we're stood up against the wall like we are here. Crossing the feet will kind of give you a lovely kind of angle and shape to hips. Plus it'll allow you to kind of twist the body quite quickly from one pose to another. As far as the hand position is concerned, like I was saying, we're using the one to actually cup the breast, but what you want to make sure is not kind of gripping, because that can look really, really strange. And Tia, our model here, is a great example of an amazing woman, but only does up to implied. So this is a kind of thing that we need to kind of cover up no matter what, which will work with most clients. I like to bring a little bit of drama. Now, this is a kind of a little bit of a love-hate thing, all right? But I'm not afraid of really kind of pushing very hard light. And if we're looking to kind of create more drama within the image by using a harder light source, not just overexposing the image, but a harder light source like a barn doors without any diffusion on front of the flash, or the likes of a kind of projected spot and so on. I really like to actually use that because that adds into the drama more. One of the ways that we can kind of shoot in a flow without having to kind of readjust the exposure all the time, of course, is if the client is looking away from us instead of basically looking at camera position all the time. So you can kind of get into a flow to actually do with the positioning. But you can see here, we really haven't changed much. I've kind of zoomed out a little bit, or in fact, I've stepped backwards just a touch. Now we can see the knee. I usually encourage you to crop just above the knee. It tends to be a little bit more flattering in the end result, especially when the client's got their foot against the wall. We don't see the bottom of the foot. So I would still go in and crop this just a little bit. But just by a simple little twist of weight, pushing the hip out a little bit more, leaning the client's head onto the side, instantly we've changed the kind of the look and feel to the image. And then obviously we can continue to twist the body around. And now we haven't moved hand or arm at all. All we're doing is kind of rotating the client around a little bit. I usually, I'll encourage you to dance with your camera as well. That means that you move. So it's not just the client that moves, but also the camera position moves in both height, so low to high, and then basically in the kind of the rotation of clockwise kind of moving around. So from here, I can either step to my left and get a different shot, or I can step to my right and get a different shot. I don't want to get in the way of the light, especially when I'm using hard light, of course, because obviously that will actually throw my shadow into the scene as well. But as long as I'm using pretty much a longer lens, I can still move behind the light, so I can still shoot in a different angle as well. So by twisting the body, keeping the hands the same, all we're really looking at then is a slightly different kind of head position, an emotion position as well, as far as the kind of the angle of the head. There does become a point where the hand is almost kind of distracting as it goes into the face. That again is another love-hate thing. Again, as far as when you're running through your flow, don't be afraid to make mistakes. The client will never know. As long as you do a hard edit, you know, what we're doing all the time is that kind of positivity, and everything you say is giving the client confidence. It doesn't matter if it's a model or if it's a real client. Body confidence, head confidence is what it's all about. They don't need to know about your insecurity because you're possibly new to boudoir or you're trying out new ideas. So no matter what you're doing, you kind of bring that fresh encouragement the whole time, and you'll get a lot more out of your client and a lot more out of the session. But just remember to really edit hard, of course. Turning the body completely towards the obviously wall kind of disguises fully the breast, especially if we were doing the same shot without knickers on. We've basically got a great bum shot by twisting the body a little bit away from us. This left hand, as we look at her on the wall that we can physically see in the shadow, that is the arm that will disguise the breast if she twists around to us more, so we don't have to worry about that. And this is a really good way to actually kind of allow the body to almost roll across a wall, like we've kind of done in the past where we roll across the bed to get different variety. You can actually do this kind of image, especially with the body stocking, in fact, to kind of almost starting on one side of the wall, rolling across there. And the only thing that's really going to change is your working exposure. If you're using speedlight flash, for instance, in TTL, it'll compensate for you as you're going through. However, if you're using studio flash, you know, if you're exposing it in the middle of the wall, let's say, the further you move her away from the light, you're going to get an underexposed image. The closer you are to the light, you're going to get obviously more kind of overexposed image and things, really. So be just aware of that. So again, you can kind of twist and change the body. This is one of my favorite poses with a body stocking, in fact, where we're kind of crossing the arms and basically we're hugging ourselves at the same time. Again, crossing those feet without the foot on the wall. That's really down to you. But you can get some really kind of great images here, concentrating on a fuller length to a 3/4 length to a torso and the head and shoulders image to get really adding more and more into the mix itself. So body stocking, thumbs up from me. A really, really great idea to add into your boudoir mix without any trouble at all.